Hive2. Made a lot of videos of Hive2 last year, but I haven't really done much with it this year. I haven't opened it up that much. I did put a queen excluder on at one point. So today I'm going to steal a frame of brood, I hope. June, so we're not in a honey flow at the moment. The frames that are in here are all well, that one's partially filled, it's got some honey in, but they kind of stopped. This one's totally empty. Honey in this box. Not fully capped, but I can imagine one could really... It's not dripping, so that's ready to take. Yeah, it's quite heavy. Honey in this box, but all around the outside. It's probably because there was brood in there earlier on, before the queen excluder was put on. No queen on the other side of the queen excluder. Brood on the outside frame, although it's all drone brood. That could be taken out really. Some of those. Those two are stuck together. Green cup. Old hard one, nothing in it. Quite a lot of pollen in with the brood. Cat brood. Eggs in the bottom corner. Different coloured pollens now, purple, yellows, browns, all sorts of colours. They're getting pollen from all sorts of different plants at this time of the year. I could take that one. This was a blank frame, like this is, maybe 2 seasons ago. It's not flopping now, it's got quite solid. I'd like to do a few more eggs, and probably are further into the hive. Plenty of cat brood there anyway. One bad cell. Hard to know what it is. Just one. Full brood, one open one. More cat brood. More eggs here. So, no treatment for the autumn and winter, and lots of messing around with it last year, but it's been left alone pretty much this spring. Put a super frame in there, take out that frame of drone brood, that will remove a few mites probably. Put the queen excluder back on, put the supers back on for the time being, take them off before we get our main summer flow. It's quite a lot of brood that's capped in there which will hatch out in the next few weeks. So, you know, they might well make some summer honey if we get the right conditions, which you don't always do. Last year it was too dry for the white clover to yield. White clover's around here and makes lovely honey, but not when it's so dry. I took a queen cell out of this one the last time I came because I couldn't find the queen to take out. And they were getting swarmy, they were putting eggs in queen cups. So, I wonder what they're like today. They're still swarmy. They should probably have queen cells. I'll have a look. Well, one thing at least, it doesn't look as though they've actually swarmed. And they are putting some honey away, so that's something. A lot more stores in this one than there was in Hive1 that I looked at earlier. Yeah, stores and honey going in. So they seem to be better at making honey than that one is. Quite heavy. New wax. Put that one in the middle. And going in there. So these certainly seem to be getting a grip. New wax. Honey going in there. Good. Well, let's see what they're doing in the brew box. New wax, full of eggs, so the queen's still laying. It's all drone brood, half drone brood and half wet. Plenty of eggs and brood. Full of eggs and brood. That was so different to the last time. Unmarked. So what does that mean? Does that mean they've got a new queen? She's definitely there and she's definitely unmarked. Right, we'll leave them alone. Hive2. Haven't been here for a while. Stinging nettles are taking over. It's been a hot day today, the end of quite a few hot days. 27th of August, but really quite hot. So, how have poor bees been dealing with it? Haven't taken any honey off this hive this year. Spider in the roof. Big spider in the roof. Oh, there you go. Probably go back in. Well, it's not chocolate block with honey, that's something. So that's straight away. Although there is some in there. Some in there. Right, I'll stop down. Some in there. See what's going in the brood box. Has got a queen excluder on. It's had a queen excluder on most of the year, this one. This queen does have a daughter, bred from a queen cell taken out early in the year. Propolis. Well stuck, everything's well stuck down. Had an inspection from the government bee inspector a few weeks ago. I think that's the last time it was opened. Well, there's brood and larvae. Can't see eggs. Oh, what have we got here? It was a queen cell, but it seems to have been one that's done nothing. It's not open properly at the end. Well, maybe it was a dud one. Brood with pollen all around the outside. Put blank frames in during the year. They're getting quite think they're not quite so floppy now. Yeah, seems to be okay. Hard to see the eggs, the light's gone. But yeah, I think they're there. Certainly very young brooders there. Quite a lot of pollen in there. Now, the question is what to do this year. Well, the variety, this is not a new queen now, it's an old queen. Oh, nice slab of brood there, touch of broad brood. But that's all going to hatch out and provide bees for the winter. But of course that's also where the mites are. So one of the options is to remove it all. Right, well, it seems as though they're doing okay. Haven't seen the queen, but don't really need to. Should be able to see the eggs on that frame. I think it's my eyes are getting worse. Okay. Down go, down you go, down you go. Right, now. Let's see what honey we could take from this hive. I might leave with that one. It's not full. That's not full either. I'm feeling that might be the case for quite a few of these. It's probably right, but right, but not capped, I think. Doesn't come out. Let's take that one. Go on, girls, get off. Not complete. It'd be nice if it. So now there was a blank frame put in, no wires in there. So it'd be nice if that was completed for cut comb honey, but it's not. So. In fact, I think this is an old frame of honey. This is old honey that was put into the stores. Not much in the end frame, never is much in the end frame, but this one with its old stores can go on the end now. I'll put the end one back in. This is the middle box. This is more likely to have some capped honey, I think. Yes. Is it going to be runny enough? It's a bit set. No, they're not making too much of a fuss when I'm taking this honey off, and this one's capped on one side and not on the other, and I think this is older honey. That might be new. I might put that one back in. Although it's a hot day at this time of year, there isn't really very much other than to make honey from, unfortunately. So although they've got the weather, they probably haven't really got the nectar flow. I mean, these ones don't find any Himalayan balsam in this apiary, so they don't have that nectar flow. Wildflowers, they've been working quite well, I think. But of course they're coming to an end now. The thing that's going to flower next, or may already be flowering, I haven't looked hard enough to see, is the ivy. So they may well, oh, that one's a better frame, that one's got quite a, and that one you'd definitely say was 75% capped, which is, and I could actually get a nice couple of pieces of cut comb honey out of there if I wanted to. I don't know. Conflicted. Keep that for a minute. That's an outside frame, so not much on there. Well, that leaves them something. And it may even just be a matter of putting this box on and taking a couple out and replacing them with some other frames. There's quite a lot of honey in there, but it's not capped. That one's a bit better. I'll take that one out. Now that is dripping, so that is definitely not ready to go. And that would probably be the same for that. So they have made something recently from something. Right, well we'll leave them. Put another frame in for replace that one and leave them. So not an enormous crop of honey, but better than nothing at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Probably equal to more like 9 if they were all fully capped. But still, some quite nice honey, I think. And it's pretty much summer honey, although there is a bit of spring in there, possibly. Yeah, right, we'll lock those up and leave them for the time being. Hive2 that I took the honey off a few days ago. Earlier in the year I took out a queen cell from this hive and bred a new queen, so it's a daughter of the queen that's in there at the moment. So it's a younger queen, and I'm going to replace the older queen with the younger queen in a relatively easy method. Let's put this somewhere. So I'm going to keep one of the two supers, put it on the new floor, and then put newspaper over the top of the super and put the young queen in the new brood box on top of the newspaper. And the old queen I'm going to move just a little bit further away over the other side of the apiary, and the flying bees will come back. Actually, it still seems like there's still quite a lot of honey in this hive, so that's quite good. So this whole box with the floor I can move right, so that box is gone, the queen's gone in the old brood box. The flying bees will come back to here. They'll come back to this super. What they've always come back to. Newspaper's got a staple in it, so I won't need to put any holes in the newspaper. This is just a box that has been scorched and flamed to clean it up a bit. Scorched and scraped, I should say. The newspaper method is the favourite method of uniting two lots of bees together. The idea is that they smell each other before they are able to chew through the newspaper, and so that they're used to each other by the time they get to meet, and the idea is that they then don't fight. So this is This is a box with a new queen in. This was the queen cell was taken away to another apiary, so the queen wasn't mated here. One just stung me through the trousers. They've got a reasonable amount of brood there. Be useful to see the queen. Now they've only just come out of my car, so they're probably not too keen about all this disturbance. There are eggs in the bottom corner there. Can't see a queen. Ah. Oh. Well, this is their honey stores. Ah, there's the queen. Queen's in the bottom of this box. hive. Bit of honeycomb. Yeah, she's there. Now to get her out. Yep, there she is. Come on. Well, I think I'm just going to knock the box and dump them in. We can have the honey back in a minute. Right, that old box has done its job. And I'm pretty sure that queen ended up in there somewhere. So now I'm going to bring a few frames back from the other brood box that I took away and put those in there to fill up some of this gap. I'm going to try and find some frames of stalls and a good frame of eggs if possible. Now I've selected a couple of frames from the mother's hive. The idea is to select frames that have got eggs in but not too much capped brood, because the idea of taking the frames away is to take the capped brood away with the mites in. Now there's a little bit of capped brood left here but not very much, and there's eggs and young larvae in all of this in this frame, so that's the one I'm going to put in to that hive. I've got one more which is also still got some cap brood, but all of the centre there. So I just need to be able to identify those frames when I come back, because the idea is to trap the mites. The mites that are still on the bees is to trap them in these two frames. So I need to know, and when I come back I need to be sure that I'm taking out the right frames. So a drawing pin on each of them will just right, I'll be able to identify those now. So they can go in the middle of the brood box, in the middle of the brood area, because they're eggs. And then I can come back in a week's time when those frames are capped and take them out and hopefully take out some mites. Now obviously there are other frames in there from that nuke. But because it's a nuke and it's had a brood break, there won't be quite so many mites as there would be if it was in just an ordinary hive. This is their honey. Now these bees actually sealed up the entrance here. Some seal it up and some don't. These have. So I've now just got to open it up a little bit so they can get at this honey. So, flying bees are going back to the box. New queen bee is in the top box, we hope, should be, and they will merge together in no time at all. These bees can just get at that little bit of this honey here and take that back down. I can come back in a week's time and take out the marked frames and give that brood back to the other one if necessary. But I'm going to take it out to reduce the mite levels in this colony, and hopefully they've got a nice new queen for next year. I might just put an empty soup around there to just finish that off with. 7 days in because I come back a few days ago. There's a couple of frames in here that I've marked that I'm going to take out. And of course the last time I came I was introducing a new queen to the colony, so I want to make sure that the queen is actually laid. There we are, that was a blank frame that I put in last time. So they've used that. And yes, there's brood there, and I don't think it's. So this is one of the marking frames. It's now capped. So that's what I'm taking out. Don't want to take the queen out at the same time. So there's a lot of pollen around it now. They've done well at picking it up. Yeah, there are eggs in there, so the queen's here somewhere. And the bees, of course, have united with the flying bees from the previous queen. Here's the other frame that's marked. That's all catch now. Can't see the queen on it. Going to have to make a lot of wax. I might also feed them a bit later on, although they've done quite well making quite well to make that wax there. stage is to take these frames out and put a feeder on. But we'll let them keep going for a bit with the ivy time being, till we can. We're making wax from the ivy honey, so that's fine ivy. I don't particularly want the ivy honey myself. They seem to be working quite well at it. Set this hive up for making next year. So this should be a honey producing hive this year. Smoke is running out of puff. So these can be fed in October. Hive2, 2nd of September. I'm just going to have a quick look, see how it is. Shouldn't need too much of an inspection. A bit windy today. Just brewed there's eggs around the outside, so that's okay. I'm going to put a super on. I'm not going to put a queen at stew on. We don't know what the weather's going to be like in the next 2 weeks. motor's just not working today with this wind. Hive2, which has got the new younger queen united with the old flying bees. I put a super on, but I'm not sure that they've really been able to make much honey. So just have a quick look. I think I might give them some stores. Yeah, there's not much in. The weather hasn't been conducive really to them making a lot of ivy honey this autumn. They made a bit, they made a little bit, smallest amount there, so we'll leave them that. I'm not going to go into the brood box now. 22nd of October, it's time that they were left alone. I'm just going to give them a couple of new frames of, well, old frames. I didn't make anything in those. They need a good flow to make wax, and they certainly didn't get that. The weather was very wet a lot of the time. So, as I want them to make honey next year, I don't want to feed them loads of sugar, and I don't want to give them fondant in the winter. And I do have some frames of honey which not hard, but I'm not going to extract them now. And well, I say not hard, there's hard honey there, probably spring honey, but that will keep them going. A few frames of that. Obviously, really, the honey should come from the same hive that I'm putting it back on. In an ideal world, that's where it would come from. But I haven't got my frames marked in that way, so I can't actually do that. That would have been a nice frame for cut comb originally, but it's not all soft. That's hard, that's soft, and the surface is not very nice. So they can have that back. There's another one here. Hard there, quite soft here. There's no queen excluder on. They did have some honey left in that box there, and of course we hope, I'm not going to look at that box, so I'm hoping they put a fair amount of stores in there. And sort of cross fingers now and wait until next year. I'm going to put a mouse guard on the front. Wax moth larva there, or some larva, maybe not wax moth. Come on girls, out of the way. I want the mice to get you. It's actually not too bad today. It's quite warm. It's still, it's a bit grey now. It was very sunny earlier on, but you can't expect warm weather to last for very much longer. So it's going to be clocks go back soon, and it'll soon be winter time. And then the bees can just be left, well certainly this hive can be just left now to settle down and hopefully survive the winter. I might put a couple of little bits of carpet underlay across the top later on, just a little bit of for warmth in the winter. But this box will now get filled with, well, it's already been on there, so it'll stay filled with warm air. And broods there, they can move up if they want to. They almost certainly won't move down. They never seem to anyway in the winter. In the spring that box will probably be empty, can come back up, and then off we go again. All we've got to do is the bees and the beekeeper have got to survive the winter. Who knows?